This is Straight Talk with it by the name Greg Fann, the Preacher Man, and his sidekick Shanan Jones. Frank discussions of issues affecting the ATL, Fulton County, the state of Georgia, the nation, and around the world. And now, here they are, live and in living color, the team of Jones and Fann, the Preacher Man.
Well, welcome to Straight Talk, Great Talk on this cold, snowy morning, or day, should I say. It's cold. Well, I know many of you are locked in, so you can really watch Straight Talk this week. With yours truly, Greg Fann, the Preacher Man, and Shanan E. Jones. Miss C gonna be back a little later on with her segment. But listen, first of all, we want to wish you a Happy New Year, right, Shanan? I ain't seen you. I haven't seen you. Have I seen you this year, Shanan?
Happy New Year.
Have I seen you this year, Shanan? You got to think about it. It's been that long since I seen you.
Oh, I'm frozen, but Happy New Year.
I mean, but I'm just saying, have I seen you this year?
No, you have not. You have not seen it.
I didn't think I've seen you this year. I want to wish you a Happy New Year too.
No.
Yeah, and welcome back to
Happy New Year.
And welcome back to Straight Talk.
I come back to get my Straight Talk. Happy New Year.
Okay, well, I'm playing like they used to say all the time. It's in the mail. The mailman's just running slow now. But it's in the mail.
Oh, no, the mailman come to my I have to come to get it.
No, it's too late. It's been mailed now. It's too late. I can't go back and rescind that, Shanan, because it's really been mailed. And so you got to go and check with the postal service to find out what's going on with your mail, man, because I definitely sent it. I sent it.
Well,
when did I send that? Well, let me see when I sent that. I want to make sure that
I trust you, man.
I just want to make sure. I want to make sure. Well, when did I send that? When did I send that to Shanan?
I think you sent it on the 12th or 13th of November.
Yeah, that's when it was sent. That's exactly when it was sent. That's right. Well, ladies and gentlemen, don't forget to like and don't forget to subscribe to our channel here, YouTube channel. And thank you so much. We ran in several preachers, represented Tanya Miller at Shay Alexander's swearing in, our new clerk. Well, elect Shay Alexander. Congratulations to Shay. And many more. We were at the sheriff swearing in, not swearing in, but being sworn in for a chaplain, and all the individuals was there. And thank him for being reelected, Sheriff Patrick LeBot. And we ran into so many people, and Keith Gamage ran into Keith, and William Bodie, and ran into him. And matter of fact, he was at Ishay. He was also at Ishay Collins, and congratulations to Ishay Collins on her win to be the citywide elected council person for the city of Atlanta. I tell you, she did a tremendous job on the school board, and then she moved on up to the city council of the city of Atlanta. And my good friend, our good friend, State Senator Donzella Jones, sent me a note to let me know that Monday she will be sworn in again as the senator in her district. And I thank God for her and all the work that she's done over the years. And congratulations, also a special congratulations to Vincent Willis, who was sworn in as the first assistant chief deputy of Fulton County Sheriff Department. And congratulations to him and his wife, Councilwoman Helen Willis of South Fulton. Well, there's
Helen Z. Willis.
Z. Oh, okay, Helen Z. Willis. Okay. Well, thank you for correcting me. Thank you for correcting me for Helen Z. Willis. Thank you so much. But I want to just, Shannon, I want to just say our condolences go out to the late Reginald Tatum's family, the late Reginald Tatum's family. Reginald Tatum was a shown-up community activist. I met Reggie years and years ago when I was working for the county. I met him. He was a voice for the community. He stood up as an advocate for the community. He stood up as an advocate for the school board, and Fulton County School Board. And he was just a great guy who really cared about his community, his city, his county. And he served on several different boards. He's a native Atlantan, grew up in the Summerhill community. And he's going to be well missed. His voice is going to be missed. And whenever you would talk to Reggie, this is what he would say when you be talking about some issue or something we need to address. He said, ain't no question about that. We need to deal with that. No question, Greg. We need to deal with that. But that was Reggie Tatum, and he's going to be really missed. And as you see the picture of him there, you see him with his "I voted" sticker on, because he certainly was civic-minded, community-minded, and one who I know that dearly be missed in South Fulton and the Metro Atlanta region because of his stance and his position. So, Shanan, we can talk about some other individuals that we know that we're going to be talking about today. But before we do, we want to just make sure that you like us, that you subscribe, you make comments to our channel, YouTube channel, and you can email us at straighttalknews1362@gmail.com. But we're going to jump right into this discussion. We talked about Reggie Tatum and his commitment, but let's talk about the late Senator Vincent Ford and his commitment and his work. And I'm gonna let you take the lead on that, and I'll jump in at some point to just tell my story about my experience with Senator Ford. Are you there?
I don't know where to be.
Okay.
Just a bit of a delay because of the weather.
Right.
I was saying, I don't know where to begin with Senator Ford. He was truly a man of the people. He was truly a Renaissance individual. One who was beyond well-read, and he was an awesome strategist. Traverse the academe, the halls of government, as well as the streets and the spaces where normal everyday human beings walked. He could speak in varying circles, and he moved by the drumbeat of justice. And that was, what was the just thing? What was the fair thing? He was a Micah 6'8" man, one who certainly did justice, who loved mercy, and who walked humbly with his God. And what I loved about Vincent Ford is he didn't walk around with a robe on and a Bible in his hand, or a collar around his neck. He was not a clergyman; he was a believer. But he really where his I love Jesus shirt on. You just would see him before. You see him putting his body in struggle and against predatory lenders. You would see him get on a flight and break into go up to New York and break into a board meeting or a shareholder meeting at the risk of arrest. To speak about their policies were doing to everyday human beings, black or white, elderly or young, in the state of Georgia and throughout the country. And he just really missed to see him walk in the room. Don't know greatness. That is a must. And we really don't miss our water. And the 39th district, Senate district of Georgia, the well has run dry. Though there's someone in that seat today, the high place that he took that seat and the work that he did from that seat to impact Georgians and those in the metro area is unparalleled. And he will be sorely missed. He was not only a great freedom fighter, a great senator, a great parent, a great brother, but he was a great friend. And I'll miss dialing that and being able to get wisdom and having him take me through the mantra of what do we need to do? Like, what do we need to do? We need to do what? That's what we need to go where? We need to talk to who? And that's right. And I'm gonna miss those conversations and say what do we what is it? What do we I'm gonna miss those conversations and the wisdom that we glean from him. May the spirit of Vincent Ford live long in our hearts.
My experience with Vincent is my first experience with Vincent and was with my church, and we were trying to get some approval to do a remodeling at the church, and you had to go through the MPU and all of that. We had a house that was a church, was what we were using for a church, but we wanted to build a church building there where the house was, and we were working to get it done. We got all the plans and everything there. So we had to go to the MPU to go and get approval from them to make a recommendation that we could do it. Well, we were at that MPU meeting at the library, the Lakewood Library, which is since closed. We were there at the meeting, and there was great opposition against a church. And Vincent was in the back room. I didn't know Vincent at that time. I didn't know him, his work, or nothing about Vincent. I was just there, a preacher, trying to bring a moral conscience to the area, which was Stewart Avenue, which was the old host road. Prostitute was going up and down. We had strip clubs all up and down Metropolitan and everything. And so Vincent stood up and he said, "Wait a minute, hold up for a minute. You mean to tell me you want to reject the church? First, they are a church. You want to reject the church from being in the community when we got all of these strip malls, all these things that's strippers and nightclubs and all this stuff, and we got all these things that are happening on Metropolitan, but you don't want a church?" And he said, "Shame on you." And when Vincent got through, one of the Caucasian gentlemen stood up and said, "I don't see, they're already a church. They're just asking to be able to make improvement to the building. That's all they're asking for." And so when Vincent got through and the Caucasian gentleman got through, then they made a recommendation to the city that we could do the work that we wanted to do. But that was the kind of person that Vincent was. He didn't know me, but he did understand the need for a church. And I do appreciate him for that. And then when I was elected to the city council of East Point, I was on the city council. There was a plant that emitted creosote. They used to treat the poles, the telegram poles, with that creosote chemicals, and that stuff was stifling. It was really annoyance. And the residents of Jefferson Park had gotten with me, Michelle and several of them had gotten with me to see how what the city could do about that. And so as a person that cared about people, I said, well, this is not a city problem. This is really more a problem that we need to bring in someone that with the state, our state representatives. So I brought Vincent in. Vincent brought in every department, every person that touched it. And Vincent and I went down and met with the EPD, the EPA, everybody, and brought them out here, and they tested the soil, they tested the quality of the air. And let me tell you something, to this day, that plant is still operating, but they're not using that creosote, so we don't get that smell, we don't get that ingest that, and there were many people that were harmed by that smell. But I thank God for Vincent Ford, that Vincent, he cared about people. He took his role as a state senator serious. He took his role as a freedom fighter and activist and a community leader. He took it very, very serious because people were truly at the heart. I believe in my heart that Vincent Ford, if there's anyone that made it in, based on what the word said, whatever you do unto the least of them, you do also unto me. Vincent Ford did exactly that. And then no one can deny that fact that he did, because he was really a champion for the least, the less, the lost, and the left out, and a voice for the voiceless. So he'll be well missed because that voice will be gone, will be shut down. But we pray for his son and his daughter that the Lord will continue to keep them in memory of their father.
Zoe.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, Zoe.
Did you ever get a call? Did you ever get a call from him to do you a favor, like go to jail?
Well, he never asked me to go to jail with him, but we did many demonstrations together. We did demonstrations when Greyhound was doing what they were doing to the bus drivers. We did that. We did many demonstrations with the union. But I'm reminded of one occasion when Vincent was being registered to run for office again. And you know, they were coming at him because, you know, the powers that be didn't want Vincent to be there, right? So he got an entourage of us to walk in while he was going to qualify. And me, I'm saying, walking through the halls of the Demon Dome, it's forward, it's forward, it's forward, it's forward for 39, it's forward, it's forward. So we walked in and he signed up to qualify again for another term to serve in the Georgia Senate, and I'll always remember that brother, his smile, his laughter, his just being a genuine person. When he called me and told me that his time wasn't long, tears came from my eyes, and he told me, "Greg, don't cry." He said, "Because God has given me the charge to do what I've done, and I've done that. I didn't know you, you didn't know me, but I stood up for what I believed that was right." And he said, I appreciate you. And I told him I appreciate him for his work and his stance. And I'll always have Vincent Ford in my heart. And there wasn't nothing Vincent could ask me to do that I wasn't going to be willing to do it, whether it was donating money, donating time, or donating talent, because he was that guy. He was that guy. Some people didn't like him because he was that guy. Yeah. So, you know.
Misunderstood.
Yeah. Well, when you really for the people.
In other words, some people
moral consequence to the area, which was Stewart Avenue, which was the old host road. Prostitute was going up and down. We had strip clubs all up and down Metropolitan and everything. And so Vincent stood up and he said, "Wait a minute, hold up for a minute. You mean to tell me you out here and they tested the soil, they tested the quality of the air, and let me tell you something. To this day, that plant is still operating, but they're not using that creosote, so we don't get that smell, we don't get that ingest that, and there were many people that were harmed by that smell. But I thank God for Vincent Ford, that Vincent, he cared about people. He took his role as a state senator serious. He took his role as a freedom fighter, an activist, and a community leader. He took it very, very serious because people were truly at the heart. I believe in my heart that Vincent Ford, if there's anyone that made it in, based on what the word said, whatever you do unto the least of them, you do also unto me. Vincent Ford did exactly that. And then no one can deny that fact that he did, because he was really a champion for the least, the less, the lost, and the left out, and a voice for the voiceless. So he'll be well missed because that voice will be gone, will be shut down. But we pray for his son and his daughter that the Lord will continue to keep them in memory of their father.
Zoe.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, Zoe.
Did you ever get a call? Did you ever get a call from him to do you a favor, like go to jail?
Well, he never asked me to go to jail with him, but we did many demonstrations together. We did demonstrations when Greyhound was doing what they were doing to the bus drivers. We did that. We did many demonstrations with the union. But I'm reminded of one occasion when Vincent was being registered to run for office again. And you know, they were coming at him because, you know, the powers that be didn't want Vincent to be there, right? So he got an entourage of us to walk in while he was going to qualify. And me, I'm saying, walking through the halls of the Demon Dome. It's forward, it's forward, it's forward, it's forward for 39. It's forward, it's forward. So we walked in and he signed up to qualify again for another term to serve in the Georgia Senate, and I'll always remember that brother, his smile, his laughter, his just being a genuine person. When he called me and told me that his time wasn't long, tears came from my eyes, and he told me, "Greg, don't cry." He said, "Because God has given me the charge to do what I've done, and I've done that. I didn't know you, you didn't know me, but I stood up for what I believed that was right." And he said, I appreciate you. And I told him I appreciate him for his work and his stance. And I'll always have Vincent forward in my heart. And there wasn't nothing Vincent could ask me to do that I wasn't going to be willing to do it, whether it was donating money, donating time, or donating talent, because he was that guy. He was that guy. Some people didn't like him because he was that guy. Yeah. So, you know.
Misunderstood.
Yeah. Well. When you really for the people.
In other words, some people, activism is a opportunity to get on television and to get their name and to be popular, and so they whatever they're always getting. And then there's some folk that don't do it for cameras,
right?
But they do it again because they love justice, because they serve the Prince of Peace. And injustice affects justice, which affects peace. And in order for peace to come, truth must move forward, and prophetic truth must move forward. And I think some people misunderstood him, saw him as a rabble rouser, because he was an elected, and from that office he did the work that he did. But it didn't matter what he was in. If he was the janitor at third shift in the basement of the coroner's office, Vincent Fort would be front and center on the front lines and be articulating and speaking out against injustice. So I think a lot of people misunderstood him and didn't understand his prophetic stance and his prophetic ministry or service. It was true to his heart. It was true to who he was and whom God created him to be.
Absolutely. And on that, we're going to stop now, and we're going to have Miss C. Miss C going to come and bring her spotlight with information, and we'll be back on the other side. And we're going to talk about another man who stood for peace, a man who stood up for the least, the less, the lost, and the left out. Miss C?
Hi, Miss C here with your 3-minute news blast or more. Hey, Pastor Greg. Hey, Bishop Greg. Hey, Pastor Shanan. Hope you all are doing well today and staying warm. I know I'm trying to. Listen, I've got a few tidbits that I'd like to tell you about. Reverend Charles Smith and the members of Message of Truth invites you to worship with them in the new year. We're in 2025. I guess you know that, don't you? But anyway, each Sunday at 10 a.m., the Message of Truth is located at 850 Matt Williams Road in Southeast Atlanta. You can also enjoy short sermonettes online at wyzeradio.com at 5 p.m. each Sunday. For more information, call 404-635-9575. The King Holiday Observances is going on right now. It's going to be going on from now until January 20th. They have numerous events that will happen at the King Center, and you can check them out at www.thekingcenter.org. In order to attend these free events, you must RSVP to the website, and it's www.thekingcenter.org. Okay. On Saturday, January 25th at 4 p.m., You're invited to WYZE 1480 AM Radio presents. I mean, oh my goodness, bringing back Atlanta's gospel voice. That's what WYZE is. And presenting this, WYZE is Pastor Ray Neal. And the program is going to feature the Dixie Airs and many other gospel greats around the city. Now, for ticket information, you can call 888-433-9993. That's 888-433-9993. Bringing back Atlanta's gospel voice will be held at Solid Rock Sanctuary Church of God in Christ, 1915 Rock Cut Place in Conley, Georgia. Arnold Ruffin is pastor. Now, I don't know if you knew this, but our own Greg Fann, the preacher man, he can be heard on the new WYZE internet channel and on Sundays at 6 p.m. Yeah, you actually can hear him. I don't think you can see him, but you can hear him. I think that's enough for anybody. I'm sorry. But listen, if you would like for us to announce your event, just email it to me at straighttalknews1362@gmail.com. That's straighttalknews1362@gmail.com. And we'll be happy to announce your event. And listen, before we leave, I'd like for you to do 4 things for me. I'd like for you to like us, subscribe to us, leave comments, let us know how we're doing, and fourth of all, share. Don't keep Straight Talk News to yourself. Let everybody know about Straight Talk News, and all the good things that we're doing. And in the meantime and in between time, may the Lord God bless you real good. And listen, in the new year, I have adopted this motto: I'm coming alive in 25. Okay? See you later. Bye. Stay warm.
All right, we're back. We're back with more. Thank you, Miss C, talking about the Martin Luther King Day and what's happening with WYZE and Dr. Bishop Ray Neal. And please support Bishop Neal and his station and all they're doing with WYZE. YZE was a great station for the community. I was on there as a radio announcer for quite a few years as I got to handle Greg Fann, the preacher, man. and then certainly we want you to support all the efforts that's out there. Reverend Charles Smith, who was on the YZE and his church and ministry. He used to be up there at the Lighthouse, where M.D. Spires was the pastor. He was assistant pastor there for many, many years. And I want to say a hi to Charles and thank God for his continuous work for the Lord. Well, listen, Shanan, we just lost a great person who understood truly. Doesn't matter about the color of your skin. It doesn't matter about where you come from, but who stood up for justice, stood up for peace. And he went all the way from a little town called Plain, being a peanut farmer, to becoming a Sunday school teacher, teaching Sunday school in his church, being a state senator, then becoming the governor of the state of Georgia, and later becoming the president of the United States, the late Jimmy Carter, a man who truly knew what the Word of God meant, lived it, taught it, lived it, and helped many, many people in the process. So I want to talk a little bit about him and his life work. So I'm going to turn it over to you now, let you talk, because you're a talker and I'm a talker, so we both be talking. So
Well, and that's true. I was born of Nixon's administration, but the first president that I remember was James Earl Carter Jr. or Jimmy Carter. I remember him because my father, which came out of the civil rights movement and the Black Power movement, moved his family from Chicago, and then he went on to do activism in St. Louis, And so then, as the youngest, I was born and raised in Atlanta. And so the Jacksonian mayoral administration, seeing Andrew Young, seeing Reverend Abernathy, seeing Coretta Scott King, going down to the King Center on January the 15th, before there was a federal holiday, and seeing President Jimmy Carter come home to Georgia and be there before it was a federal holiday, to make sure that it had the importance that it had. Jimmy Carter was a part of the stew of Atlanta that really shaped and formed my thinking and my stance. And then to see him lose the election in 1980, I was 6 years old, and I remember crying, father, and saying, "This happened. How could Jimmy Carter lose the election?" I thought everybody in the world would be voting for Jimmy Carter, or everybody in the country voting for Jimmy Carter. And of course, it's funny how history records one thing and the news and current opinion captures another thing. And so, my father let me know that there were many people across the country that did not appreciate Jimmy Carter, and that saw his administration. I'm 6 years old, but saw administration and he as a weak leader. And perhaps maybe some of them saw Reagan and the Reagan administration as more of a stronger leadership. Of course, that wasn't my father's position, but he was letting me know the nuanced state of the nation. And so I really, that was 6 years old when he loses the election. But in '86, the Carter Center comes, and I'm in sixth grade. And so as I grew to watch a former president go to villages around the world that was like Plains, Georgia. And in those small, insignificant villages where there was, in Africa, where there's guinea worm, I saw him fighting to end. I saw him going and monitoring elections and bringing people together. In the midst of the Bush administration, the second Bush administration, he went to Cuba and he went to Cuba and met with Fidel Castro when that was not a part of the American foreign policy. And the Bush administration was very upset with him. He goes there, and in a speech where Castro is in the audience on the front row, he challenges Castro to allow the civil liberties of his nation, the people of his nation, to be paramount. And then after that, sits with him at a game, throws out the baseball at a national game in Cuba. A man who who placed very much his body in the struggle, Bishop, and someone who put the needs of others above himself, and one who spoke truth to power. He told people, "I will never lie to you," and many his truth was viewed as weakness. But then here we are looking back all these years later, and we see the greatness of what he was able to do. Millions of people had guinea worm, but he served the Prince of Peace, and he believed that God was a healer. He believed that his Savior could heal, and so he, through his faith, worked on a healing of like 14 people who had guinea worm. When he started, there were millions. I'm gonna close with this. He wanted to be a nuclear physicist.
Oh, wait a minute. Now, remember your preaching. Now, you say you're closing now. Remember your closing. You preachers have 4 or 5 closing.
I'm closing with this. No, this one. Well, so he said that he wanted to be a nuclear physicist, went on to the Navy, was the top of his class. The admiral at that time over the academy beat him, chose him to be the admiral of the Navy chose to be one of his adjutants and assistants. Dies. He goes back to Plains, Georgia, and recognizes he wants to have this great military career. His family needs him in Plains, Georgia. So he does the unthinkable and foregoes a career that brought he and his wife and family out of Plains to the big city and to the world. And he comes back to become a peanut farmer, trained and educated as a nuclear physicist. A lot of good that's going to do as a peanut farmer. But when he goes back as a peanut farmer to serve, he gets politics, and politics sends him to the Georgia Senate, and then politics to the governor's office, and then politics sends him to the White House, and then politics sends him to be one of the greatest statesmen that the world would ever know. Carter be greatly missed.
You know, I don't have much to add to that, but I do want to say that he was truly a man of faith, truly a man of conviction. And when he put his hand on that Bible to take the oath of office to defend this country from domestic and foreign enemies, when he put that hand on that Bible to look out for the welfare of this country and the people of this country, he lived that. He lived truly to what he took an oath to do, because he was a man of faith. He was a man of God. He did not put his hand on that Bible playing and saying something that he really didn't feel in his heart. When he put his hand on that Bible, he was committed to serve this country. And as the old folks say in the song said, to serve this present age, my calling to fulfill, may all my power engage to do my master's will. And that's what he did. He did his master's will. Despite being elected or non-elected, he did his master's will. And that's what we must do. And we have many people who run for office, and they run for this office and run for that office, and after they run for office, you never see them again. Or when they lose office, you never see them again. Or they get out of office, you never see them again doing anything good for people. When you say you're a servant, you can serve from wherever you are. Dr. King said that. He said in his speech, you can serve from wherever you are if you truly are a servant. And if you truly committed to God and God's word, you can serve wherever you are. You can look out for the least.
Anybody can be great because anybody can serve.
Anybody can serve. So you need to understand this, brothers and sisters, if you're listening to us today, is wherever you are, don't say that you believe. See, people say, well, he's a Christian, but he was a believer. He believed the word. He believed the word because he lived the word. He lived the word.
Yeah.
He lived it. An example of what you ought to do. See, when the pastor said that there's a book there at the Carter Center with the laws of what the president ought to do. But what he had was a book that helped him to better understand that book and how he ought to operate in faith and under the God that we serve. Under the God that we serve. Yes, sir. And that's a fact.
No, I'm agreeing with you.
Yeah, that's a fact.
I'm agreeing with you.
That's a fact. That's a fact. Because see, what we have, we got too many people playing that they believe, but they don't believe. Because when they can't get what they think they ought to have, you don't see them no more. You don't see them no more. They don't do anything anymore because they leave. Even when they lose off, they bitter because they lost. Why are you bitter? You lost. You had the opportunity to serve. Now give somebody else an opportunity to serve. But you can serve from wherever you are if you really about serving.
I want to just add something. I want to add something to that to drive home what you just spoke about. In 1980, in the primary, ran against Edward Kennedy. Ted Kennedy against him in the primary. And asked of, why do you want to be? And he could not answer that question. And it really was a mark, some other things was a mark against him, but that was really a gleaning moment for him. And I believe that that was the moment that Ted Kennedy, though he had been in the Senate since the 60s, I believe that that was the moment that he really emerged as not as president. He ended up losing that primary, but I think that it made him the lion of the Senate and made him begin to go back and grab his faith and find out, like, what is this office for? Why am I in the Senate? Why do I want to be a senator? Why do I want to be a mayor? Why do I want to be a city council person? Why do I want to be a planning or zoning commissioner? Why do I want to do it? And the difference is that everybody puts their hand on the Bible, but how many people put the Bible in their heart? And Jimmy Carter took the one, he could put his hand on the Bible because he had the Bible and his wife read every night. And the black woman that we saw with the family, there's a little known history to that. When he was in the governor's mansion and Rosalind Carter was the first lady of the state of Georgia, they needed a nanny for Amy because they had almost grown children, but then they had this little one that popped up, and the demands of being the first lady of the state of Georgia, and he being governor was great on them, and she needed someone that she could trust in trial to, and they went to the Georgia system, and she found a black woman who was in prison for murder. She heard her story and she believed when the state did not believe her. She believed her when the warden did not believe her. Believed her when the jury and the judge did not believe her. Rosalind Carter believed her so much that she entrusted the care of her daughter to Miss Mary Prince, and Miss Mary Prince was in prison for life for murder and a trustee of Georgia penal system, the good government, to serve in that capacity. And when the First Lady and when President First Lady won the White House, leaving, she would be taken back, Mary Prince, to general population. But Amy Carter, the daughter, was distraught that she would not have her nanny and her friend with her. And so, being the president of the United States, now once he was in office, he worked out a way for Mary Prince to be able to come to as a part of her sentence and to serve the family there and to work with Amy. And the president of the United States, James Earl Carter, became her parole officer. The president of the United States was her officer, and they worked to get her exonerated. Found out that the lady had never done what they said she did. Stayed on after the White House moved with the family back to Plains, and you saw her walking with the family because she became a member of the family. That's when you don't just put your hand on the book, but when you put the book in your heart, then you can see people and you can serve people and you can help people and you can change people's lives. And when God has a plan for you, it doesn't matter that you're in a prison for murder. He'll take you from the prison office to the world. And that was a little known story of this black woman that's been wound with the family doing the service. A so-called murderer who the First Lady saw a child of God.
Well, brothers and sisters, you heard it right here on Straight Talk with yours truly, Greg Fann, the Preacher Man, and Shanan E. Jones. Listen, don't forget to like us. Don't forget to share. Don't forget to make comments. Don't forget. Like us, subscribe, share, and make comments. Won't you do that? Now I'm doing like Miss C. It's like us, subscribe, comments, and share. Do that. Won't you do that for us? And let other people know about Straight Talk. And share what Shanan and I are sharing about the late Vincent Ford and about the late President Jimmy James Earl Carter. All right? And our dear lost friend, Reginald Tatum. Well, until next week, this ain't been nothing but what? Yes. And
it ain't been nothing but straight
talk.
It ain't been nothing but straight talk. But don't forget that after all of this that we talked about, here comes King Day, and there's going to be another man that's going to put his hand on the Bible. On him is Donald John Trump. So with all of this Vincent Fort, all of this John Tatum, all of this Jimmy Carter, all of this MLK, here we go with Trump, and I'm wondering what will be the image that coming out of this experience. What will be the image of the 47th president of the United States?
You don't have to
ain't
wonder.
Nothing straight talk.
And again, you don't have to wonder. God is in control. Don't you ever forget that. Don't you? And I'm telling the rest of you all that too. Don't you ever forget it. No matter who's in the White House, it's in who is looking down on
the throne.
On the throne. Hey, until next week, it ain't been nothing but straight talk with the last words coming from Shanan E. Jones.